Hello everyone and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. We're holding a Mishnah Berurah Chelik Vav. We'll be learning today Yirtzeh Hashem Daf Hey Amid Beis. We are continuing to learn Siman Taf Kuf Lamed Daled. We're learning the halachas of kibbutz, of laundering on Chol Hamoed. Let me just turn my ringer off here. Bear with me. Okay, that's better. We're continuing to learn the halachas of kibbutz, of laundering on Chol Hamoed. Now, even though we turned the page to Hey Amid Beis yesterday, I want to go back a little bit to the bottom of Hey Amid Aleph. So, on Hey Amid Aleph, on the bottom line here, we learned in the Mechaber that you're allowed to wash mitbechais hayodayim, which are hand towels, or mitbechais hasaparim. And we translated mitbechais hasaparim either as the cloak or the cape that you wear when you take a haircut, or the Mishnah Berurah brought down alternatively that it might mean mitbechais sefarim, and it means the covers of the Sifrei Kodesh. So for one thing, I was wondering yesterday, if you take a look at the Mishnah Berurah, Ois Katan Hey, V'istem Afarshi Svarim Mamish, Hainu Sifrei Kodesh. And he says, V'hatam b'chol zeh, the reason why you're allowed to wash all of these things, Hu kamay b'mitbekais hayodayim hanal, is for the same reason that you're allowed to wash hand towels. Now the problem that I had with that is, the reason you're allowed to wash hand towels, we explained, is because you use hand towels up very quickly. They get dirty very quickly and they need to be replaced very quickly. And therefore, let's remember, the whole reason you're not allowed to do laundry on Chol Hamoed is because we want you to do the laundry on Erev Yom Tov, and we don't want you to come into Yom Tov when you're manuvel. The same thing, we want you to have all of these things that you need. We want you to have them before Yom Tov. Do all your washing before Yom Tov. Have everything that you need already for Yom Tov, and we don't want you to do laundering on Yom Tov, but that doesn't apply to mitbechais yadayim, because even if you wash hand towels before Yom Tov, chances are you're going to have to wash them again during Chol Hamoed because you simply don't have enough. Now, what was bothering me was, how does that apply to the covers of Sifrei Kodesh? If mitbechais Sfarim is the covers of Sifrei Kodesh, how does that logic apply to that? So I saw in the Aruch HaShulchan, when he brings down this opinion that it's not mitbechais hasaparim, but it's mitbechais svarim, his lashon is that you're allowed to wash them because ein miderech eretz lesar behem hakibus b'yom tov. It wouldn't be derech eretz for the svarim to aser washing them on Yom Tov. If you're going to have the cover of a Sifrei Kodesh, you're going to have a mantle of a Sefer Torah, let's say, and it's going to get a stain on it, it's not derech eretz, it's not covered HaTorah to say that you can't wash it on Chol Hamoed. That seems to be what the Aruch HaShulchan is saying. Now, also on this topic, the Mishnah Berurah in the bottom of Hey Amid Aleph and Ois Katan Vav, he brings down here, he's talking about the mitbechais hasvag, which we said are like bath towels. The Mishnah Berurah said, Hainu mashem estapkin behen kishayotzim mi beis hamerchatz. These are the towels that you use to dry yourself off when you come out of the bathhouse. The Kasav Beis Yosef b'shem Kolbay, the Beis Yosef brings down in the name of the Kolbay is a Rishon, Da'achshav nahagu bazeh chumra, that nowadays we rule stringently. V'chein roy lasois, and that is proper to be stringent and not to wash the mitbechais hasvag, the bath towels, on Chol Hamoed. And then he says, V'ayin be'eliyah rabbah sivkatan beis, where the Eliyah Rabbah seems to say that this chumrah of the kolbay applies not only to the mitbechais svag, but to the mitbechais yadayim as well. I spoke to a Pesach today who told me that indeed we're noyeg not to wash towels on Chol Hamoed at all, even the mitbechais yadayim, and therefore one should take care to make sure that he has enough of a stock of towels, of clean towels, before Yom Tov, so that you should not have to wash them on Chol Hamoed. Interestingly enough, the Aruch HaShulchan does not even bring down this chumrah at all. So it doesn't seem to me like the Aruch HaShulchan was noyeg this chumrah. He doesn't bring it down. Okay. Then the Mechaber said, Ubigdei kitanim. I just turned the page now to Hayam Beis. The Mechaber said that you're also allowed to launder the clothing of young children. And the Mishnah Berurah explained in Ois Katan Zayin, Ki derech hakitanim lehislach lech betit ubetzaya tadir. The reason why you're allowed to do laundry for young children is, again, even if you would wash the clothing of the young children before Yom Tov, you're going to have to wash again on Chol Hamoed because they get dirty. Whether it's petit, whether they're running around outside and they're getting dirty with the dirt of the outside, mud and dirt, or it's their very young children, and bitzaya, they get dirty with excrement. So even if you wash, you definitely should wash their clothing before Yom Tov, because like we've said, there's a chiyuv of kavod v'oinig. You're supposed to come into Yom Tov with ksus nikia, so certainly you should prepare and wash the begadim of the ketanim before Yom Tov so that they should have ksus nikia on Yom Tov. But even if you do that, you're going to have to wash it again on Chol Hamoed because they get dirty. Children get dirty. And therefore, there's nothing wrong with washing them on Chol Hamoed because, again, the takana doesn't apply. The whole takana was, we don't want you to wash it on Yom Tov because we want you to wash it before Yom Tov. But by the begadim of the ketanim, even though you washed them before Yom Tov, you're going to have to wash them again on Chol Hamoed anyway. And therefore, it's mutter. Now, the question is, what age children are we speaking about? So I saw brought down from Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Zechet Tzadik Livracha, he wanted to say that it's talking about children up to the age of 6 or 7. On the other hand, Rav Pinchas Scheinberg wrote that really it depends on the child. There are children that are more fastidious, there are children that are more mature, and maybe already at that age, they're already not running around and not getting dirty, or even excrement. But then there are children that are not as mature. There are children that are more active. There are children that run around more. And therefore, they might still be getting dirty a lot, even if they're older than 6 or 7. So Rabbi Pinchas Scheinberg, Zechet Tzadik Livracha, he wasn't ready to put an age limit of that time to this question. Okay. Now finally, we continue from where we left off yesterday. We're at the top line of Hayam Beis, right by the Ois Katan Ches for the Mishnah Berurah. Another person who's allowed to do laundry on Chol Hamoed, ubalas hakesem shenimtza b'moed. Balas hakesem, a woman who experiences a discharge, and she has to wash her garments, her undergarments on Chol Hamoed. And I believe the explanation over here is that this is a person who experiences frequent staining. It's the nature of a woman at that point, at that time of the month. She is experiencing a lot of discharges, and therefore we allow her to wash the clothing that she needs on Chol Hamoed. In that way, it's similar to a katan. The reason why you're allowed to wash the children of the katan is because they have the nature of the child is that the child gets dirty frequently, and therefore even if you prepared clothing for them before Yom Tov, you're still going to have to wash on Yom Tov. The same thing holds true by a woman who's experiencing discharges. It's the nature that they stain through a lot of clothing, and therefore even if they washed before Yom Tov, they have a need to wash on Chol Hamoed, and therefore it's mutter. Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Ches ubalas hakesem shenimtza b'moed. The same halacha is true. If a woman became a nida on Yom Tov, and now she reaches the time of her Shiva Nikiyim, and she needs to wear white, and this is not something necessarily that she was expecting before Yom Tov. So you can't fault her for not having enough prepared for before Yom Tov. It could be that she needs to wash now. Also, even if she did prepare before Yom Tov, she might need more. And therefore, she's allowed to wash, she's allowed to launder, so she should have the levanim when she needs them. Continues the Mechaber on the top line. Another person who's allowed to do laundry on Chol Hamoed, umi she'ein lo ela chaluk echad. Somebody who only has one cloak. He only has one chaluk. He only has, that's the type of garments they wore. It was more of a long cloak, their outer garment. If he only has one, he's allowed to wash it. If you only have one, even if you washed it l'kavod Yom Tov before Yom Tov, you're going to have to wash it again on Chalamayid, and therefore it's mutter. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Katan Ches el chalak echad. He explains the chalak echad mislachlech. One chalak, if all you have is one, it's going to become dirty. Afilu kibsai kaidim Yom Tov, even if you laundered it properly before Yom Tov, and therefore you're allowed to wash it on Chalamayid. V'yesh ben ha-paiskim d'sfira lahu. There are those paiskim who hold the chol zeh, this heter, that if you only have a chalak echad, if you only have one garment, you could wash it on Chalamayid. Dafka bisman ha-talmud. That was only true in the time of the Shas. That was true in the time of the Gemara, where you didn't have a maras ayin problem. And the reason you didn't have a maras ayin problem is, if you only had chaluk echad, when you took off that chaluk in order to wash it, the Gemara says they had some kind of belt, apparently, that they wore under their outermost garment. But if they would have to take off their outermost, or maybe over it, but when they took off their outermost garment to wash it, they would tie their belt onto the next layer of clothing. So somehow it became obvious. He says here in the parentheses, the Chavetz Chaim, shemetchila hayachayger azayrai al hachaluk, because initially, I think the way the Mishnah Berurah is understanding this, I think the chaluk is not the outermost garment. The chaluk is the garment that they wear inside, under the outermost garment. Shemetchila hayachayger azayrai al hachaluk, and they would wear a belt on the chaluk, and it would be under the outermost garment. But when they had to take the chaluk off, they took off that inner garment, put the outer garment back on, and tied the belt over the outer garment. So therefore, there was no maras ayin issue, because you were able to tell that this person only had one chaluk, because he's taking off his chaluk in order to wash it, and he's dressing in a different way than normal. Why doesn't he just put on another chaluk? Elamai, he doesn't have another chaluk. So there's no maras ayin why he's laundering on Yom Tov, because it's very clear from the way he's dressed that he only has one chaluk. But in the way we dress, she'en lanu chagar al chaluk shalanu, where somehow this mitzias doesn't apply, ein lahakal bazeh, we can't be makel, because if we're going to allow this person to do laundry on Yom Tov, nobody's going to realize that the reason he's washing his garment is because he only owns one. But if you're talking about a linen garment, then we're going to see shortly in Siv Beis that the Mechaber held initially that linen garments, klei pishtan, flax, which is linen garments, you're always allowed to wash on Yom Tov. Now, I mean, I guess you'll tell me if somebody only has one shirt, so if he's going to launder his shirt, he's not wearing a shirt, he's wearing his talis cotton only, so then obviously, again, it's obvious that he only has one shirt, there wouldn't be a maras ayin issue. Continues the Mechaber near the end of the top line, V'chulam, all of these people who are permitted to do laundry on Chalamayid, Mechabsin kedarkan, they're allowed to wash things in the normal fashion, Afilu ben neser v'ohol pirish mine buris, even using different types of detergents and soaps. And furthermore, they're allowed to do this laundry ubefarhesia, they're allowed to do it in public al gabe anohar, at the riverside. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Katan Yudah befarhesia al gabe anohar, I'm the Magen Avram, take a look at the Magen Avram, Shedaitar lahachmir shaloi lekabsan befarhesia. The Magen Avram was of the opinion that these people who are allowed to do laundry should not do their laundry in public, because not everybody is going to realize that he's doing laundry because he has one of these heterim, that either he arrived from overseas or he was in captivity or any of these other types of situations. So these people, the people who are considered einsim, that they couldn't do laundry before Yom Tov, like the one who arrived from overseas or who got out of captivity, over there the Magen Avram holds that you should not do the laundry in public on Chalamayid, because not everybody realizes that you had such an einus. However, levad mimit b'chayis hayodayim, But when it comes to washing hand towels, ukahai gavna, or these other items that you're allowed to wash, shar dvarim shemutar l'chol adam, things that everybody is allowed to wash, yesh lahati b'farhesia. That you could be matir to wash b'farhesia. If everybody has a heter to wash hand towels on Chalamayid, then you could wash your hand towel in public because everybody sees you washing hand towels. That's something that's mutter. Masha Ein Kain, if you're somebody who came out of captivity on Erev Yom Tov, and that's why you're washing your shirts, over there, if somebody sees you washing shirts b'farhesia, there could be a marasayin problem because he doesn't know that you just arrived from overseas. Aval, however, kama achreinim askimin lodas haramah delekamei. Many people agree with the opinion of the Ramah. I'm sorry, excuse me. I just have to send a quick message here to somebody who's trying to reach me. I have to let him know that I'm saying shir. Sorry, I never interrupt the shir, but this is somebody who's doing me a taiva. Okay. So we see the Magen Avram. He says that you should, the people who are allowed to do laundry, they shouldn't do it per farhesia. However, many achronim agree with the Ramah that we're going to learn shortly. Since washing in the river accomplished a better washing, and the washing that you're doing is in need of the mayid, you're doing it l'kavod hamayid, l'tzarech hamayid. So then the Chachamim were not machmir, and they didn't make you do your laundry in a different way, as long as it's a case where you're allowed to do laundry. And I think we saw a similar concept earlier, where we said that when the Chachamim were matir you to go pick hops on Chalamayid because you're going to add it to your beer, l'tzarech hamayid, they said that you're not mechuyev to go snip off, and that wasn't by the hops, it was by the flax. We said that by the flaxseed, if a woman wants the flaxseed for her cosmetics, you're allowed to go uproot the flax on Chalamayid since it's a tzarech hamayid. And we pointed out that why are we being matir you to uproot the flax? By uprooting the flax, you're performing two malachas. You're performing the malacha of kaitzer, of harvesting, and you're also performing the malacha of chayfer, of digging, because by uprooting the plant, you're loosening up the soil. So we said, for the woman who needs the flaxseed, why are we matir her to uproot it? Why not just tell her to snip off the top? That way you're only performing the malacha of kaitzer and not the malacha of chayfer. And we said that once the Chachamim were matir you to do the malacha, l'tzarech hamayid, they weren't matriach you to do it in an abnormal fashion. They said you could do it in the normal way. Could be that we're seeing the concept over here. If we're matir in these cases to go do laundry, so then we'll be matir you to do it al gav hanohar. Do it al gav hanohar, where you have a better washing, and that's the normal way to do it. And we're not going to be machmer on you, and we're not going to tell you that you have to do it in a different way. Okay. Says the Ramah, second line in the Shulchan Aruch. Chaga. Mihu, however, lo yichabsu rak hatzarech lohen. When you're doing this laundering in these various cases, you only wash what you need. Dahainu chaluk echad, which the Ramah says means one garment. In other words, let's say you're washing for children. If you're washing for children, so your child needs another shirt for Yom Tov. Okay, so right now he needs one shirt. He doesn't need 3 shirts, so wash one shirt. Wash one shirt and give him a shirt. Now he has a clean shirt again. If that shirt gets dirty, so go wash another shirt. Give him another shirt. Doesn't mean that you could wash 5 shirts at once. Now realize, first of all, that the Ramah is speaking about somebody who's doing hand laundry. We're not talking about machines over here in this Ramah. So the washing of each garment is a separate tircha. And the more garments you wash, the more tircha you have. So therefore the Ramah is saying, if the child needs one shirt, do one tircha that's necessary now, l'tzarech hamayid now. Wash one shirt and give him a shirt. If he needs another shirt tomorrow, so you'll wash another shirt tomorrow and give him another shirt tomorrow. By us, where we use washing machines, over there the poskim say that once you're throwing in a load of laundry, it's really not more tercha to throw 5 shirts in instead of throwing in 1 shirt. So if whatever you need for the mayid, if you know that the kid is going to need another 5 shirts, another 3 shirts, another 2 shirts for the mayid, so you could throw them all into the machine at once. You can't go ahead and throw other things into the machine that you're not allowed to wash. You can't, if you're washing shirts for your 5-year-old, you can't also throw in some shirts for your husband. That you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to wash things that you're not allowed to wash on the mayid. You can only wash what you're allowed to wash on the mayid. But if you know your kid's going to need another 3 shirts, you don't have to go throw in 1 shirt. You could throw in 3 shirts at once. And the truth is, adarabba, we would rather that you throw 3 shirts into the machine at once, because then you're doing laundry once. As opposed to if you're going to do laundry, you're going to wash 1 shirt today and wash another shirt tomorrow and wash another shirt the next day of Chol Hamoed. Now you're doing laundry 3 times on Chol Hamoed. So why should we do that? If there's no additional tercha, do it all in one shot. Do it all in one shot. Now the Ramah continues, and the Ramah says, Miu bigdak tanim biyoser. If you're washing clothing for a baby, if you're talking about something like a stretchy, certainly cloth diapers, or the baby's undershirts, these are garments that the baby always wears, and he soils himself in them, so then then you could certainly wash 4 or 5 outfits at one time. You don't have to say that for the baby I'm going to wash 1 garment every time he needs it. Because by a little baby you constantly need clean things. You could change the baby's diaper now, and then 5 minutes later he could soil himself and you need a new diaper and a new undershirt and a new stretchy. So you're not mechuyev to go ahead. We're not going to tell you wash 1 stretchy, 1 undershirt at a time. No, over there you could wash a bunch at a time within reason what you're going to use. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ois Katan Yud Aleph HaKetanim B'Yoser. What the Ramah wants to say is Lafuke Stam Ketanim. This is not talking about just minor children like a 9-year-old. Ein Lahate B'Kibas Rak Cholok Echad V'Chanal. Over there you wash, let's say, 1 shirt at a time. Continues the Ramah, V'Hada Mutar L'Chabes B'Farhesia. When we tell you that you're allowed to do laundry even in public, that's only when you're doing your laundry by the river. If you're not doing your laundry by the river, so you're not getting the benefit of the river, then what the Ramah seems to be saying is, this that I told you, that when it's mutter to do the laundry, you could go ahead and you could do it b'farhesia. The Mechaber said b'farhesia al gabe hanohar. We're going to be mata you to do it b'farhesia because hopefully there is no marasayin problem, and at least you gain the benefit of doing the laundry al gabe hanohar. But if you're not doing the laundry al gabe hanohar, if you're doing the laundry in your backyard or in your front yard, so you're not getting that benefit, then do it b'tzina better. Now we go to Sif Beis. Says the Mechaber, Kol klei pishton mutter lechabsan. First, the Mechaber says this ruling that anytime you're washing flaxen garments, you're washing linen, you're always allowed to launder on Chol Hamoed. Why would that be? Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in Yud Beis, mutter lechabsan shekalin lehislach lech. They stain very easily, so therefore, even if you would have washed them the way you were supposed to before Yom Tov, you would have to rewash it anyway. So again, it's the same svara as the mitbachis yadayim. The reason you're allowed to wash hand towels on Chol Hamoed is because even if you wash before Yom Tov, you're going to have to wash again on Chol Hamoed. So too linen garments. Linen garments, the nature is that they stain very easily, says the Chavetz Chaim, and therefore you're allowed to wash them on Chol Hamoed, because even if you wash it on Erev Yom Tov, it's going to get dirty right away, and you're going to have to wash it again during the Moed. And then another svara says the Chavetz Chaim, V'gam ein tarach b'kibusan kolkach, and also there isn't a great level of tercha in washing the linen garments. I don't know precisely what's going on here. maybe what it means is somehow linen, the same way it takes a stain very easily, it loses a stain very easily, so there's less of a tircha in the washing in the first place. But having said that you could wash linen garments, continues the Mechaber, and the Mechaber says, 4 lines up from the bottom, V'loi no'agu kain, the minig is not to wash linen garments on Chalamoid. V'havalei dvarim hamutarim, and therefore this is considered a case of something which is really mutter. V'acherim no'agu bahem iser, but people got up and they were noyig iser, they were noyig not to do it. You're not allowed to go ahead and be matir it in front of them. If it's something that was mutter, but they took on a chumrah, they made it something which is aser, now you can't be matir it b'fneim. Says the Mishnah Berurah, is cutting Yud Gimel, v'havlei dvarim hamutarim ayin magen Avraham, is cutting Yud Daled, you're not allowed to be matir it b'fneim. Umikamakim, nevertheless, kevin de me'ikar adin shari, since really me'ikar adin, the laundering of the linen garments should be mutter, nispashet haminig lahakel, there became widespread a minig to rule leniently, liten la'akum, to give over to a non-Jew, lechabes kutainas achatz, to wash one linen garment at a time, or lechutz labayis, outside of the house, da'afagav dechomasha aser aser, gamken ayidei nachri, even though normally we say that if something is aser for you to do, it's aser for you to ask a non-Jew to do it. Mikamakayim bazem akilin, nevertheless, over here by a linen garment they were makel, because me'ikar adin, the washing of the linen garment is mutter anyway. Eliyarabba b'shem prisha vuva b'chayodim. V'liten lahanachri, to give over to a non-Jew, sheyechabes achar hamoyed, that he should wash this garment after Yom Tov, b'chol inyan shari, that's always mutter, u'belvad shalayimne kederach shu oisa b'chol, k'moshe kasav seif Siman taf kuf mem gimel. One second. Taf kuf mem gimel. Sif gimel. U'belvad shalayimdoid v'yishkel v'yimne kederach she'oisin b'chol. I guess when you bring something to the dry cleaner, so he counts out 1 suit, 2 suits, 3 suits, 1 shirt, 2 shirts, 3 shirts. So he's saying over here that if you give it to a nachri, he shouldn't count it out the way the uman shouldn't count it out the same way. And again, this is talking about giving it to the launderer, giving it to the non-Jewish launderer, so that he should wash it after Yom Tov. Not that he's going to wash it on Yom Tov, but you shouldn't count it out to him. Okay. Siv Gimel. Mevi'in mi beis ha'uman kelim shehem l'tzarech hamayid k'gayin karim u'kisasais u'tzluchiais. You can bring from the beis ha'uman. You could pick up from a craftsman's house kalim that you need l'tzarech hamayid, and the Mechaber gives the example of karim, which are pillows, u'kisasais, blankets, u'tzluchiais, or plates. Aval kalim she'enam l'tzarech hamayid, but utensils or vessels that are not used l'tzarech hamayid, kigayin macharesha, you gave in your plow to be repaired. You can't pick up your plow from the craftsman on Chalamayid, because a plow is definitely not something that you need l'tzarech hamayid. Oitzemer mi beis hatzava, or if you gave bolts and tongues of wool to a dyer, that's not something that you're going to pick up l'tzarech hamayid. You're not using raw wool, something that wasn't woven into cloth. It has no Yom Tov use, so why are you picking it up on Yom Tov? That's a tercha. You don't go to pick up something from the Beis HaUman if it's not something that you need l'tzarech hamayid. Ein mevi'in, you're not allowed to pick it up. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cotton tezvav, mevi'in, you could pick up something from the Beis HaUman, aval ein melichin lebeis HaUman afilu l'tzarech hamayid. However, you can't drop something off by the Uman, even if you're going to need it l'tzarech hamayid. You cannot give something to a non-Jewish Uman, a non-Jewish craftsman, on Yom Tov so that he should repair it or wash it or something on the moed so that you could pick it up and use it l'tzarech hamoed. You're not allowed to do the laundry. You can't ask him to do the laundry. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cotton tezayin. Ein mivian, things that are not l'tzarech hamoed, you're not allowed to pick up. Bein she'umen gemare b'moed aikaidim. And this is true even if the craftsman completed his work before Yom Tov. Vatam, and the reason is mishum tercha. This is also because of tercha. So if you gave in your plow 2 weeks before Yom Tov, and he finished it before Yom Tov, he did the repairs that he was supposed to do before Yom Tov. He called you up, he told you it's ready, you didn't pick it up. Now you want to go pick it up on Chol Hamoed, you're not allowed to do that. It's not something that you need l'tzarech hamoed. You're not using a plow on Chol Hamoed or on Yom Tov, so there's no tzarech hamoed for you to go pick it up. So by picking it up, you're doing a tercha. That's not l'tzarech hamoed. Well, and according to this, if the problem is an issue of tercha, afilu mibayis labayis ba'isa chatzer, the leka tercha. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. Vatami shum tercha. Now we go to the Chavetz Chaim right by the Ois Cut and Yud Beis for the Sharet Tzion. V'yesharmim, there are those that say that tercha is not the issue. Mishum sheyizberu shenasan l'sakdim b'mayid v'yomu sha'uman tiknu b'mayid. The reason you can't pick up the plow on Chol Hamoed is because when somebody sees you picking up a plow from the repair shop on Chol Hamoed, he's going to think, why are you picking it up on Chol Hamoed? It must be that you gave it to him right before Yom Tov, and he just completed the repairs. So that means you gave it in to the repair shop so that the repairs should be done on Yom Tov. You're not allowed to do that. Well, afilu mibayis labayis ba'isa chatzer deleka tircha, va'afilu uman nachri asalahavi. She is Berusha Balabayis Tziva Lasaktim Amayid. Kasar Pribagandim, the Ladvar Mitzvah, Afa Pishain Sar Chamayid, Yeshlarman de Uman Akub Shari Lahavi. Okay, we're going to stop over here. So we are on the second to last line in the Shulchan Aruch, the bottom line in the Mishnah Berurah. Thank you so much for joining me for limud HaTorah. The discussion of limud HaTorah should be made against Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuas and Parnasa to all those in need. And we should be zeicher to see the Bias Gal Tzedek b'Meher v'Yameinu. Be well.